Invocation to the Lord. Dear Lord, allow my spirit to rise to your heights, to drink from the true fountains of wisdom, and absorb your powerful vibrations of love and faith, of purification and spiritual and material strength, of spiritual power, peace, understanding, health, prosperity, and harmony to pour over my brothers and sisters. Lesson 15. The great laws of the universe. The law of cause and effect and successive incarnations. The laws, emanated from divine love and divine wisdom, govern all creation and constitute the divine presence in everything created in the universe. God is present in everything that exists through His love expressed in His laws, which constitute His constant presence governing His creation. You should not discard as impossible that which you cannot understand now. That would mean limiting the divine possibilities only to your mental capacity. Faith is necessary to accept what your mind cannot comprehend in this moment, which does not mean that you will not be able to do it later, when you have achieved better preparation. Nevertheless, we do not ask you for a fanatic faith, since your faith will be rewarded in due course with the explanations and higher teachings that will allow you to see how and why those deeds that might initially seem impossible to you can be achieved. Impossibility, as a human concept, almost always depends on the ignorance of humankind regarding divine laws that govern all that is created. Through knowledge of divine laws and their action, everything is cleared and becomes easy and comprehensible. Everything that exists is governed by the same laws. Divine laws are basic, and the same law has action in spirit and in matter. You yourselves have been discovering them. You have popular sayings that agree with the law of cause and effect, and you have physical and physiological laws which are exactly the same spiritual law. The law of cause and effect, which imposes on the spirit the need of successive incarnations, it is to say the need to reincarnate countless times, also governs human life, and it clearly and exactly explains the reasoning behind all the deeds that encompass it. Your popular saying, "You get what you give," is nothing but the recognition of the action of that law. Even if in some cases it is not possible to verify its action in the short span of a human life, it does not mean that that being has been able to elude it. Since through the law of reincarnations, the law of cause and effect shall act upon the spirit of that being, which is always the same in his successive incarnations. Physiology has also an application of this divine law. In its law, every action has a reaction. And so in physics, mathematics, and in all sciences, you will find the application of the divine law of cause and effect. The law of reincarnation, which was not properly interpreted by Christianity, was clearly and accurately demonstrated by the words pronounced by Jesus on earth 2,000 years ago, through which he made clear that God does not punish anyone, that human pain is the result of human errors committed in one or another of the successive lives our immortal spirit lives, until attaining the purification that entitles it to the eternal kingdom of bliss and love. Considering the multitude of human lives that take place for each spirit, it is to be supposed that it is of little importance for the evolved spirits the form of these lives, which must develop according to the group and the time in which they manifest themselves as humans, and in which they seek, through the circumstances that surround them, to come close to the divine sources by any of the paths that humankind can follow. For an evolved being to embrace a certain religion in one of its incarnations does not exclude it from living in another religion in a new incarnation. In each one of those human lives, in the religion in which it acts, the self may bring the powers already acquired by the Spirit, which will form portentous deeds that then will draw upon the sanctification of humankind. The being will be able to bring into each of those human lives, to the religion where it acts, the powers already acquired by its Spirit. These powers will perform wonderful deeds, which will later attract sanctification upon humankind. Thus, the same Spirit is often revered under different names by antagonistic religious groups. The knowledge of the spiritual truth is fundamental to humankind as a basis of unity and mutual understanding. Its simplicity will clearly demonstrate the lack of logic behind their ideological, racial, or religious hatred and antagonism which, through their eternal spiritual life, leads them in successive incarnations to fight today against those who possibly will defend tomorrow. The divine law of cause and effect gives the opportunity to love in human life through the circumstances that comprise it, that which was hated in a previous life, so that love can purify the spirit and it may continue its evolutionary progress. God is love, and nobody should assume that He is served by hating or persecuting our brothers and sisters, even if pretending to do so on His behalf, because on His behalf the priests of the temple commanded the death of Jesus. Ambition, vanity, and hate can take any appearance to deceive and hide their true purpose. The divine and universal law of love acts in harmony with the law of cause and effect, and it is the only law that can modify the effect without distorting the law. That is why the divine law of love is the salvation for civilizations and a way in which both spiritual beings and humankind can help each other. Everything created must evolve within a rhythm that, even though it accepts certain delay, it cannot exceed the limit which, within the law of universal harmony, determines precise moments for the overcoming of certain stages. Our world currently finds itself in the extreme limit of the time set to begin a new stage in its evolution, and at the end of the time that the divine law grants our world to reach a certain point in its evolutionary trajectory. Evil has prepared the current negative climate for thousands of years for the destruction of the world, but the divine law of love can counteract its action, and so it does, through this mission of love that Christ has prepared to help His incarnated brothers and sisters. You, who are evolved spirits, have volunteered to collaborate with Him in this important and decisive moment for humankind, and to be able to perform the work that must be done now. You have incarnated many times on this planet, have suffered a great deal to purify yourselves, and have worked also in space. There is not, and there cannot be, force of any kind capable of interfering in the work of Christ, and the higher plans will unfailingly come to realization. Never consider yourselves incapable of the missionary achievements. Eliminate those negative thoughts that will form a vibratory resistance for the higher forces that you must receive. Think that if the Lord has accepted you to work for Him, it is because you are qualified for the achievement of the task He has destined you for. Think that you have not been chosen as humans, but rather you have volunteered as spirits, and your spirit has been prepared for thousands of years, working in space and on earth as incarnate, for the accomplishment of the work of Christ that awaits you all. Do not see yourselves as humans only. What is truly important is the spirit, and in your spiritual quality you cannot be judged. Let the Lord judge you. He will have to assign each one of you the deed according to your spiritual capacity, your desire to serve and progress.